First, we're going to talk about backs. Well, not just backs, basically. We're going to talk about bits of the body. Now, I've been saying all the way through that I am no stranger to an osteopath's table. Right? I tell you what, I am no stranger to a bit of serious pummeling on my shoulders, my back, my neck, particularly my lower back. Osteopathy, though, is one of those things that places emphasis on the body's ability to recover spontaneously. That sounds pretty good when it has a chance. We're going to find out a bit more about this. We have got Robin on the line. We've got Robin Lansman. He's from the Institute of Osteopathy. He's on the line. He's going to tell us a bit more. Good afternoon, Robin.
Hi, Peg. Hi, good afternoon.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. How are you?
Very well indeed. Sitting up very comfortably and listening to your show just before we came on. Yeah, it's interesting what you say. I mean, people do go to osteopaths to have their bits and bobs helped. In other words, their back and so on, and their neck. Which is a good way of putting it. And I think people do react sometimes to what hurts. But as osteopaths, we're really, really keen to put across the message that it's all about looking after your general health. Because if you can move well, and if your body, your joints, your knees, your back work well, you can enjoy life more. So we have this little hashtag where we're sort of putting out there called Love Your Health, hashtag Love Your Health, because that's kind of where we're coming from as osteopaths.
Yeah, because I mean, I think a lot of I'm really into alternative therapies, if we want to call it an alternative therapy. I know you probably might not call it an alternative therapy, but I'm really into everything that we can do to keep our health as good as possible. And one of the things that I do like about when you go for some of those treatments is the fact that the osteopath probably just doesn't talk to you about, say, where does it hurt? Do you know what I mean? It's kind of a bit more holistic than that.
Yeah, I mean, what we like to focus on really looking at how things interconnect, and we look for where there are problems. There's areas of stiffness, where not just pain, as you've said very clearly. I mean, it's very much what's not working properly, and how things aren't connecting properly together. So, people fall into habits, whether it's family life, the way they're sitting cooking or standing cooking, or how they're looking after kids, or driving, as perhaps some of your listeners are right now, and making changes to the way you live your life is really what it's all about, and getting some help and advice on that, because quite often you can't spot what's wrong yourself from the outside. You need some expert, osteopathic eyes to kind of look and feel and see where things are going wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have terrible trouble with my lower back, and then also with my shoulders and my neck. And it's really interesting. Last time I was going for my shoulders and my neck, I mean, honestly, I'm not kidding. I'm talking agony, right? Regular daily agony. And just the advice I got from she did the osteopathy, but she also gave me some advice about how I was sleeping and about my pillow. Completely changed.
Absolutely. They all link together. I think that's the very key part, is it's not just about doing stuff. It's working really to get to understand you, the patient, the individual, and kind of working out what in your life makes a difference. So it could be the way you're sitting, it could be the way you're sleeping, the pillow you pointed out, could be the way you're cooking, the footwear you're wearing. These things all have effects over a longer period of time than you'd realise sometimes to kind of have a bad effect on the way you use your body. So back pain and so on are very common, as you know, very, very common.
Very, very common.
Work and home.
And completely debilitating. Give us some general advice, Robin, for things that we should be doing well to kind of keep our health, loving our health, as your hashtag says.
Love your health. Yeah, well, I think the thing is actually becoming aware. The first thing is that you can put up with it and not do anything about it for a while, and people do manage that for a while. But once it starts to impinge, on your everyday life, whether it's work or home or whatever, stops you gardening, it stops you enjoying your life. So in terms of tips, it's actually saying, well, look, what do I really want? What can I do? And actually not making excuses, not saying I'm not going to take action. I mean, a lot of people in the beginning, if they haven't seen an osteopath, you luckily, unfortunately, have, people kind of are a little reticent sometimes to try something like osteopathy. And they often go on word of mouth recommendation, or even yourself talking about it is great to spread the word. And most people do see osteopaths on word of mouth from their friends, family, people at work. That's how they find out about it. But seems a bit of a shame sometimes that they get so long sometimes to come forward and actually give us a go.
Well, how much of that, though, is down to money, right? Let's talk kind of practically about it, because I'm, as far as I'm aware, and please tell me if I'm wrong, you can't get osteopathy on the NHS. So if you're going to go, you're looking 40, 50, 60 quid a go. It's a lot of money to try and find.
Well, I think the thing is that available, yes, in some parts of the country on the NHS, but the point is it's really, I suppose, it is difficult, and there are people who cannot afford, but also I guess it's about what's important and actually doing something you think actually will work. Clearly you found it works, for you, and osteopathy has given you some useful treatment and advice, so it kind of becomes worth doing. And I suppose going once to see an osteopath, not signing you up for dozens of appointments, but literally going once to meet, talk to, have a history, a diagnosis, an assessment, and a chat with your osteopath actually is the kind of first step, but actually it's a useful step to get some insight, even at the first visit. So it's not really a huge amount when you think about sitting with someone who's actually going to really make a difference to your health. So it is actually something people spend a lot more on a meal out. You know, and easily on a meal out. So it's kind of, you know, it is a matter of priorities, but we also understand that largely people can't afford, you know, necessarily, and if they can't afford to come, it's very much about asking the osteopath whether, if they genuinely have a problem, but really, a problem in terms of back pain, for example, but they have a financial problem, maybe they can ask osteopaths around your area and see whether something can be done to help that. If it's genuine, you know, people are there to help. So,
Well,
worth asking.
Do you think that we're ever going to get treatments like this regular, you know, be able to walk into our doctor's surgery and say, in the way that I can walk in and say I need a doctor's appointment? Am I going to be able to walk in, do you think, ever, and be able to say I need an osteopath appointment?
Well, I tell you what, it's interesting because actually osteopaths are primary carers, so we're actually trained to see people, as you just said, straight in a sense off the street. You don't need a referral. We like to work with doctors and other healthcare professionals to get the best care for people and to share that information, you know, sensibly and professionally between us all. So we are now, interestingly, we've just become allied healthcare professionals a year ago. So we're now in with paramedics and other recognised healthcare professionals within the NHS. So although we're actually not available in the NHS, we're actually very much part of that environment now. So we're hoping slowly that over time and over the whole country, we will start to find that osteopathy becomes a primary care, you can walk in and see an osteopath kind of case going forward. So that's exciting for osteopathy, but I think even more than that, it's really exciting for patients who'd be really keen to try osteopathy, you know, without any bars in place at all. It'd be, you know, be an open door policy, which would be fantastic. But, you know, any listener who's listening now, I'd really advocate, you know, if you've never tried an osteopath, I mean, ask around if someone has, but if not, have a look online and find a qualified osteopath, have a little read around their websites, you know, and perhaps go along with the idea of going once initially, just to get, can I say, a taster of what you might expect and what can be happening. And that's only a one-off.
Yeah, but I presume through your institute you can get the details of registered osteopaths in the Bradford area.
That's right, yes. If you go on the Institute of Osteopathy website, the IO, Osteopathy, and have a look for that online, you'll be able to find more information about osteopaths around the UK who are members of the Institute, and that can help. And as I say, also, you can ask around and certainly speak to people who may have been to an osteopath. You'd be surprised. You'll sit next to someone for months and suddenly say, oh, you don't see an osteopath? And they'll say, yeah, I do, and they're great. But actually, you don't know they go.
I'll tell you what, I was at my osteopath one time, right? And then when I rang the bell, she said, I'm just in with a client, so just take a seat. And I thought, that's fine. And then out pops one of my good friends.
There you go.
Who was the client, and I didn't even know that she had a problem. So there you go.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, it rings very true.
Yeah,
happens all the time, and
probably more people than you expect. Brilliant. So listen, thank you so much for joining us, Robin. Keep up the campaigning work to get this on the NHS. My personal plea to you, if that's okay.
Well, we'll try our best. Thanks, Anne. Have a good afternoon.
Yeah, you too. Thanks ever so much. That's Robin Lansman there from the Institute of Osteopathy. Good discussion. So basically, I mean, the message there, if you can afford to do it and you've got a problem, go and try and get it sorted as soon as you can. It's time to have a little look at what's happening on the roads.